Hello and welcome to the Larp Guide. In this video, I'll be looking at non-player characters at a LARP. Before I start, I would like to give a massive thank you to all of my subscribers and the amazing comments you have been leaving on my videos. The advice you have given has been fantastic and in no doubt will help a fellow LARPer or someone looking to give this amazing hobby a go. Okay, let's get started. I would like to start by saying that I personally believe that playing an NPC is an amazing way to experience a LARP event. I also personally believe it can be a great place for new players to start, especially solo players. But there are a lot of mixed views around this. A player's first event is a very special thing. It's all new and magical. By attending your first event as an NPC, it's kind of like seeing the making of a movie before actually watching the movie, or at least watching one of those very revealing trailers. So please keep that in mind. Like all things in life, you only get to experience something for the first time once. So please hear me out on why I think playing an NPC first is a good thing. But don't take my views on this as that of the Larp community. This is all based on my personal experiences. In most cases, NPCs pay a reduced or no ticket price for attending the event and often receive discount or free food. You also, in most cases, have your costume and weapons provided, as you may be expected to play multiple characters during the event. You can even sometimes earn XP and in-game rewards like a player character would, so if you do decide to play a character at that event, you haven't missed out on any progression. When you compare this to being a new player character attending their first game and a little unsure if they're going to like it, they have to splash out on things like costume, weapons, tickets, food, and that means that the average LARP is going to set you back around £150. Granted, you can reduce this cost by borrowing kit and costume from your friends, but not everybody has this option when they're first starting out. The entry price to a LARP, depending on the system and style, can be one of the biggest factors why some people won't give this hobby a try. Playing an NPC is an option that can massively reduce or remove this barrier. As a player, you may find your first event overwhelming. I think of it like being at a theme park and getting excited as you walk through the gates and can see all the rides in front of you. But then having that feeling of lost and not knowing what rides to go on first, or if you'll have time to do all the rides and not miss out on anything. You want to experience as much as possible before your time runs out, leading to the other problem of in your desperation to try and do all the rides, you end up rushing around and miss out on all the cool things that are happening around you. Or, of course, more in my case, the complete opposite happens. You walk through the gates, get overwhelmed by everything that's going on and all of the choices you feel you have to make, and end up feeling that no matter what, you're just going to miss out. Now, if you are attending a LARP with a group of experienced LARPers, this first time experience as you walk onto the field can be incredible, as they take you by the hand and get you involved in things and basically take away all of that stress. But for me, I feel the same thing could be said about a group of NPCs. The difference being, you get to experience a lot more of the game. For example, when I attended my first LARP, I hung out with a group of friends and got involved in what they were doing. As to be honest, I was feeling very much out of my depth and had no idea what was going on half the time. So I only experienced what they were into and enjoyed at that event. I could have branched off and done my own things, but as I said, I was feeling very much overwhelmed, looking at, well, all of the rides. By being an NPC, you get to see loads of different parts of the game. You get to see what you like and don't like before creating and investing in a character. What would normally take you years and multiple characters to experience, you can get a taste for at your very first event. I think by the end of your first event as an NPC, You will have a good idea if you enjoy LARP, and more importantly, what parts of LARP you enjoy the most. Before I get into this section, if your event organisers state that there are certain rules, policies, or other items you must read and learn, then this is something you should 100% do. Being an NPC does not remove or exempt you from this. Okay, with that said, one of the most daunting parts of LARPing for the first time is learning all the rules. The most common piece of advice given to new players is to learn the rules for your character and the things that you are planning to do. The rest of it you can just kind of pick up in play. Now, you're all probably tutting and thinking you only need to learn the rules for your character, but as an NPC, you would need to learn and know all the rules for loads of characters. But from my personal experience, NPCs are normally given a dumbed down set of rules or even told to ignore the rules. Okay, before you all start typing comments about me saying to just ignore the rules, what I mean by this is your NPC is immune to certain spells, or for some reasons things have no effect on you. You are told to ignore these things, and the ref team will then step in and explain what's happening on your behalf. You are normally given a brief of what you are there to achieve and how to react in certain situations. If you are expected to know or do complicated rules, then in most cases a ref will be with you and help run or lead that encounter. For example, when I played a Minotaur, I was told I could knock people over and given a call to shout to achieve this when I hit them. I was told to react and grunt when hit by spells or physical attacks, but not to fall over. A member of the ref team would be with me and give me instructions on what to do and when to die if needed. My brief was to look scary and attack anyone who touched the person I was there to protect. If attacked, I would fly into a rage and attack everyone around me. I was to leave people alone if they hit the floor and was told not to execute anyone. That was it. It was that simple to follow. At no point did I have to learn any rules. I just had to keep to that brief and do what I was told. You are also, as part of the NPC crew, very close and have access to players and ref with loads of experience, and so have tons of opportunities to ask about rules over the course of the event. You often find seasoned players of that system as part of the NPC crew, and these are amazing people to learn from. Now, from the other side of the fence, if you attend a LARP with a group of friends who know the rules, they can once again take your hand and help you find your feet within that system. But like I said before, not everybody has access to this. If you are already friends or hang out with other LARPers, you may have a chance to attend something called a weapons practice and have some fun playing around with all of their kit and weapons. You may have had the chance to try out some of the system rules and experiment with, different builds, or try on some of their armor and go for a run. But in most cases, especially with new players, this may not be the case. So when you attend your first LARP, you've already invested in the kit and created a character based on what you thought would be fun to play. You have made an investment at this point without getting to try it out first. It's kind of like buying a car without taking it for a test drive. It looked great and had amazing reviews, but when you got it out onto the road, it just didn't suit you. Playing an NPC allows you to try out loads of different things, from types of weapons and armors to spells and even the game mechanics. You can very quickly start to make an informed decision on what kit you would like to buy and what best suits you and your play style. Okay, when everyone else is sat around waiting for something to happen, you are always going to be that something. You get to be part of all of the fun at the event. That epic battle at the edge of the woods, yep, you were there. The moment that elder vampire awoke, you were there as one of the cultists. In a nutshell, you get to be part of at least 50% of everybody else's awesome memories, as you are the reason that those things are awesome. I also think it's fun as you remove a lot of pressure from the game. When you are a player, you're the driver behind the wheel, making choices that can sometimes cause you upset and stress. For the record, this is a good thing, and all part of the fun of LARPing. But when it's your first event, it can be overwhelming. The choices you make can affect your character or the group that you're with. You always have that fear of loss due to making a mistake. So, having the opportunity to try things out without that fear can be very freeing, and so, in turn, make your game more fun. Trust me, later, when you start to get more confident and you start to play your characters as you imagine them, it's a very freeing and awesome experience, and why I personally love LARPing. But to start off with, it can be a very scary thing to do, especially when there's that long-term consequence. Pre-LARP planning and all of the stress that comes with it can be very overwhelming for a new player. Before attending your first game, you would normally have to do things like create or purchase a costume, purchase a weapon, learn the rules, read the game brief, and create a character fitting for that system. Plus, you may have to find a group or create your own, or if you're attending solo, which in itself comes with a whole load of other stress. Plus, to be honest, there's loads more. But by attending as an NPC, you remove all of that listed stress. You may find your accommodation, food, costume, weapons, characters, etc., it's all taken care of. All you need to do is turn up. Hopefully, you're all still here and are not frantically typing in the comments how this is the worst possible advice to give. There are some things I need to point out before closing out this video regarding NPCs. Most games utilize NPC crew to help set up and take down the event, to empty bins and to help, move stuff around and set up encounters. It's not always about playing a character or interacting with other players. You may find that it feels sometimes more like a job. You are often expected to arrive early to an event and leave late. You may be involved in encounters that make you feel a little uncomfortable or out of your depth. You are there to enhance players' fun and make their stories. You will see behind the scenes, and in some of the magic of the game may be lost to you. You will have to make sure you never let anything you see or hear while playing an NPC affect your decisions or actions if you decide to play a character at that game. You may find that you are not given any of what you would deem to be important roles. These are normally given to more experienced players due to the complexity of what they need to do and the interactions and knowledge that they need to have. You may find that the system won't allow new players to NPC. The NPC experience can be very different from system to system and the size of that LARP. Some big fest LARPs are likely to have all of their NPCs already set. But due to this, they often have features built in specifically for new players. Some systems have a requirement that you commit to a certain number of events or games to be a member of that NPC crew. Finally, some systems post-pandemic request that you bring your own makeup and base layers. It's worth checking this out before committing to NPC, as of course that could raise the cost. That might all sound a bit overwhelming, and that list may have raised some concerns. But my advice with all LARPs is contact the organisers and ask them. If anyone knows what you should expect And if they would recommend it for a new player, it's them. From my experience, I would personally feel in the right situation, attending your first LARP as an NPC is a good option because you often find the most seasoned and experienced LARPers are part of the NPC crew. You have an opportunity to ask questions and learn from them. Watch how they interact with other players and how they twist and weave story into everything they're doing. They are focused on making a game for others and having fun themselves. It's not always about being in the limelight, and you can learn so much from this style of LARPing. You may have noticed that during the video I mentioned having a group of friends to borrow or learn from. But not all of us have those kind of friends at a LARP. So if you are new, wanting to try out LARP but are a solo player, I would 100% recommend starting out as part of an NPC crew. You can very quickly make some friends and meet people that can potentially find you a group to join and help you create your first character. Okay, hopefully all that I have said so far is tempting you to give being an NPC a go. Before I close out this video, I want to say when I make these videos, they are generalized and incorporate LARP as a whole, and unless stated are not aimed at any individual system or event. So like everything, experiences will differ from one person to the next. I know that this is a very controversial topic, so please keep the comments PG and helpful. But don't feel that if your viewpoint on this is contrary to mine, that you can't share that. This channel is all about sharing knowledge and making a one-stop point for new players looking to attend a LARP, so all views and opinions on this subject are welcome. And with that, I love you all and goodbye.